Hey guys, a lot of players have been asking whether the new relic is worth obtaining, and I'm going to make a short video on the relic forge rather than the new relic, and while also answering the question on the new relic whether it's worth getting or not. So we have two new relics this season, the Scales of Verdict, which I have covered, and then the last relic of this season is Ether Pendulum, which is actually pretty good but also pretty bad. So let me first cover why it's bad. It's bad because we can see this passive. So this passive was one of the most interesting passives I have seen in a relic. It's very promising and it's very good. The issue is when you go to the battles, you actually can't see it in the info tab, as many things in this game. You simply can't fact check whether it's actually working, whether it's actually doing anything, and how it actually works. So my idea was to use it with Babylon, and hopefully it converts the HP into attack and it stays that way, so my Babylon heals up and then I can lose HP and etc, etc. So basically losing HP and then gaining HP, so I can stack infinitely. Now, because this is not in the info sheet or in the info tab, unfortunately you can't really check this, so it's kind of dumb and it's unfortunate, but that was one of the ideas I wanted to use it in. Now, relic as a relic is pretty good, mainly because it's a 3-round cooldown relic. You can check this by seeing the active skill of the relic. So it's 3 rounds instead of 5 rounds, which means more relic cycles for your team, which is really nice, especially for both Valiantors and Ethereals, and they do kind of benefit from this relic. And the silence part works, so this has been tested. I didn't test it, but I read that it works from a good source, so I trust it. And the silence is working, and you can actually trigger this silence quite easily because both Valiantors and Ethereals have spammers. These spammers being Arcane Arabella, you have Venus, which triggers multiple ultimates in the round, basically for any of your team members. You have Eudora, which you really use, but yeah, just the Arcane Arabella with Venus is enough to trigger this silence quite easily. And in the Valiantors, we have the Everhand Diana, we have the Pandora, we have the Death Knight now with the Fool, and yeah, it's really easy to trigger these ultimates with these spammers in the current meta. Many heroes can spam the ultimates quite easily, so this relic can easily fit into both of these compositions. Now, what's the ideal star level for this relic? Well, it's quite usable at just 3 stars, so if you're someone who's low spending and just want to get like a usable relic at 3 stars, feel free to get it. It's pretty good in PvP. I have tried it in PvE, but as I said, it's really hard to test because this passive effect can't be seen in the info sheet, so I'm not really feeling any difference. And the best thing about it is it additionally increases your crit damage as well, which is really nice, so this can be used in PvE. I have used this relic to beat Extreme 100, but I had the full, but I didn't use Lucifer. I accidentally beat it while testing this relic actually. So I was testing it in PvE, whether it does anything in the Rift Odyssey or not. So I did beat Rift Odyssey unfortunately with this relic. And the Fool without Lucifer, I was using Hela. I thought benching Lucifer would make me not clear it, but it did still. So yeah, overall it's a pretty good relic. It's not necessarily broken, it's not necessarily bad, it's just like a mid-tier, as many of these relics right here. So that's another topic I wanted to cover in this video. So should you summon on this relic? Let me first finish this first part. My suggestion is not. If you are a free-to-play player, save all of your diamonds for the week 8. There's going to be a Fate Forge event, so you will be able to get the tree or the planner gate, and yeah, save the diamonds for that. Don't spend your diamonds. Even though the relic is kind of worth it for 25,000 diamonds, that's not really too big of a price to pay with the diamonds. You can just simply get it like for free basically. But if you don't have spare diamonds for both the new Fate and the Fate Forge, which is 160,000 diamonds, then don't waste them on this relic. You can skip it and rather waste them on the actual Fate relics or the Fate heroes. If you're someone who's spending like up to 3 stars, then feel free to get it. It's a fine relic for 3 stars, it will do the job. You might not be proccing the silence as reliably because it's 15 ultimates instead of 10 at 7 stars, but it will still do a nice job. So yeah, overall, pretty solid relic. Might be usable in PvE because of the crit damage increase, which most of the other relics don't really have. So that's a really nice bonus additional effect. This increases Q rate, which is kind of useless, and the others don't increase anything as far as I recall. Yeah, the others don't increase anything, just the pure attack as it has been in the past. So these are like 2 new relics that have additional increase in their stats, which is really nice. Whether you should summon on the Pendulum or the Verdict, they're both usable at just 3 stars, so feel free to get either of the two. I would get the skills of I would get the pendulum probably because of the conversion to speed and attack, but the verdict isn't really bad. So yeah, that's the conclusion for the new relic. And now I wanted to talk about the Fate Forge in general. So every relic up to the telescope is pretty much, or other cosmic mirror, has been kind of a mid tier. Now, when I say mid-tier, what I mean by that is it's not been justified for someone who's like a free-to-play player or low spender to spend on. The reason is because they're either too expensive or they don't contribute anything in the PvE. So let's go over the Cosmic Mirror. It's amazing in PvE, it's amazing in PvP, it's like a S++ tier in the every single content. We have the Scepter, which is like the only Lucifer counter that is reliable and can actually counter her. We have the Thunderbolt, which is bad. We have Gleipnir, which is good. The Dragon Blood Roar, which is horrible, one of the worst relics in the game. Same for the Ras Bark, and then we have the other relics that are pretty easy to get from the rebates. So after the Telescope, the Call of the Urgency is a good relic, but it's only PvP. Night Stalker is one of the worst relics in the game. Crown of Purity is a good relic, but it's hard to notice what it does. I mean, you can read and see what it does, but it's hard to notice how the seal that is not from the tree is actually impacting the battle. Crimson Chalice is actually really amazing relic. I believe it works in the PvE as well, but it's really good relic, so I like this one, but it's again hard to justify spending on. Chrono Schemes, PvP amazing, PvE unnecessary. Divine Plume, one of the worst relics. Bloodrift Blade, good but unnecessary. Hanya Mask, broken PvP relic, but expensive because it requires 7 stars and really hard to justify for PvE, even though it's kind of okayish because of this conversion, but then again, it's not worth. And then we're back to the 2 new relics, so that's the issue with the Forge recently, and I don't think this is necessarily bad. It gives free-to-play players a room to breathe. It gives you an option to work on the old relics to actually catch up, because you don't have to worry about any of these relics pretty much. Like Night Stalker, you can skip the Divine Plume, you can skip the Bloodrift Blade. It's pretty good because you will be able to work on these relics that are actually good and skip the bad relics. So overall, it's a pretty nice that they're unable to make a good relic to say for the PvE. For example, they can make a good relic for PvP, like Hanya's Mask is pretty good for the PvP, and Loki's Crown is also, and especially the Call of the Urgency and the Crimson Chalice as well, but they are really just failing to hit the mark on the PvE relics, which is good. For free-to-play players and low spenders, this is really good. Them making a bad hero, bad relic is good because it allows you more room to breathe and more rooms to catch up to us that are spending, and basically helps you once they really release the relics that are not good for the PvE. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, and yeah, thank you for watching. As I said, the new relic, okay-ish to spend for mid spenders to 3 stars, but make sure you have enough diamonds for the Fate summon on the heroes and on the relics in the week 8. As I said, the Fate Forge will happen in the 8th of the week. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you guys in the next one.